second. Okay, we are recording. Thank you, folks. Once again, welcome to Code Vipassana Season 13. This season is going to be a real checkpoint for where we want to go, and also a North Star for where we want to go and where the developers, understanding where the developers that is you all are at, so that we can refine and shape. And because our goal is to take the journey of developers from building applications, building wrapper applications to architecting solutions that will involve different layers of your application, your business applications or requirements themselves, right? So that's what we aim. So with that in mind, this season is going to be all about building applications that revolve around some of the Google Cloud transactional databases, which are not necessarily transactional only in nature, but we are going to use them for transactional purposes. But we'll learn more about what else you can do along the way. However, it's going to be around starting off with setting it up, building your data layer, and then running a simple application, which is what we're going to do today. And in tomorrow's lab, we'll have another full-fledged, like a business application. We'll build a surplus swap application, which is going to help you understand how to put the pieces together and build a web app that is really useful, that can transform your idea into a final application or a final output. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Today, we'll do the setup and a simple application. Like, we'll build the template, we'll build the skeleton, we'll deploy it, we'll make sure the data talks to the application and vice versa, and then get it deployed on cloud, which is serverlessly on cloud, which is on Cloud Run. So all these components might seem very new to some of you. We'll just quickly look at it in one line per concept. But before that, before I enter into the design and other things, I'm going to turn off my camera. I also request all the participants to mute their phones and turn off their cameras, because it might be distracting for folks who are looking at that's just in the element of Code Vipassana and the sheer nature of it. We just want to stick with the theme and continue the process. Yeah. So let's get started. I'm going to the lab. This is lab 1. AlloyDB quick setup. So AlloyDB is one of the relational databases that is on Google Cloud. It's a fully managed database that is part of Google Cloud. AlloyDB is not the only one. We have other databases like Cloud SQL. We have Spanner, BigQuery as a data warehouse. There are many other data cloud options that are services that are available in Google Cloud, but it's going to be about AlloyDB in today and tomorrow's session. The equivalents of this in Cloud SQL, those two labs are also available that are eligible for self-paced execution or self-paced learning basis. It's also listed in the list of sessions or agenda for this particular season in codevipassana.dev page. So you can also look at it. These labs, not all, but 2 of these labs, today's lab and tomorrow's lab, is also made available. So please look at that as well later, not now. Because if you want to choose between the databases, you can go for one or the other. Or if you want to learn Cloud SQL or you want to learn both, then that's your opportunity. That's why both are made available. All right. But why database? Because all these modern applications with AI transforming literally by the hour, things are changing. Things are getting launched, and new services, new ways of doing stuff or problem solving is getting evolved literally every day. And it's one thing doesn't change much, is that all of these revolve around data. Whether you're building a business or you're building something for your organization, you use data as a central part of your requirement, right? You can tell me that, I work for a company that only deals with machines. There is data involved somehow there also, because anything that you know or your team knows is stored as information somewhere, even if you don't use data at all in your business application or deliverable. That's not possible. That's very rare that you have a completely data-free, node strings attached application with no data at all. Because data, at least I would say like 99% of business applications that are out there or that will get created will revolve around data, because artificial intelligence can only exist if there is information to get intelligent, right? And data doesn't just mean rows and columns, doesn't just mean text data. Data doesn't mean just math or numbers. Data could be anything. The music you listen to, the videos you watch, the files you upload, the files you download, whatever you do, if the interaction, anything, any form of data is possible, right? So data is inevitable for everyday business or any business application for that matter. So when there is data, there is also going to be a need for storage. You can tell me that no, I don't need storage, I'll just use it on the fly. There will be some form or some you can then not go further, because with you will need to know how your business is progressing. You will need to know how you did or how your application did. For that reason, you will definitely need storage options. So storage is there to stay. So for as long as AI rules, data is going to stay, and for as long as data is going to stay, data storage requirements will stay as well. So that is why storage is a very important layer. Infrastructure and storage are very important layers of your any business application for that matter, whether it's web or mobile or any other physical device, anything that we're talking about. So what is just a quick overview of the architecture, any business applications architecture. There are multiple components involved. I'm not going into the system design of a particular requirement today. I'm just going to tell you at a high level. You will have applications that are running in your laptop, which you just built. But how will you deliver this to somebody else? You need to deploy it somewhere, right? You need a server on which your applications run. So that server can be maintained by you, but it's a lot of work. So we are going to use one of cloud's fully managed by the provider, which in this case, Google Cloud, right? We are going to use Google Cloud. So we are going to use Google Cloud's fully managed platform or service that is going to do the hosting for you, so that whatever you build, let's say you build a hello world application today, but you want your friend to see that, hey, I've built something new, do you want to see my application? Then you cannot share it. You can take a screenshot and send them the picture, but that's not what you want. You want them to use it and feel the benefit of it. So you want them to be able to access it from somewhere, like click a link and see, or download an app and see. For that, it has to be hosted somewhere. And that hosting can be done by you, which is expensive, time consuming, error prone, so many things. You have to be awake around the clock, or you have to pay someone to be around the clock when you're asleep, so many things. So that's why you go for serverless, like fully managed service provider managed services like Cloud Run Functions, anything that you want to choose, right? There are so many serverless options just in Google Cloud itself. In this case, and in the rest of the sessions this season, and also in the past seasons, we've used extensively Cloud Run. Cloud Run is one of the serverless services in Google Cloud, which is a primary backbone for every single engine or serverless solution that our platform provides. Why is this important? Why am I talking about this when I started with database? Because yes, data is there, database is there, ideas are there, but so what? How will your business users use it? They need it to be hosted somewhere. So yes, your hosting platform is equally important. And for some service to be readily available and to be able to consume your application as is without charging you for hosting and only charging you per request, it is the ideal way to go. And that's why you choose Cloud Run, because you can host on it, and you can only you can configure it to be charged only for each request that goes through that hosted endpoint, rather than just, let's say you host your application for 6 months. You're not going to be charged for the time unless you configure it that way. You're only going to be charged for 600 users that you anticipate to touch your application or use your application per hour, right? For example. So that's exactly why you need a hosting service, or a runtime, as we call it in the cloud world, or in any application world for that matter. So we use Cloud Run to deploy the solution. Now, I'll just stop right here, because now I just went too far with the architecture. I'm just going to bring all these things together and put it in a piece of paper. I'm going to tell you, we are going to build an application with data, database, and some front-end framework that we'll choose just to get this thing done, and then a deployment host. In this case, it's going to be Cloud Run. We want to deploy it on Cloud Run, right? So all of these things are now, and a front end, of course, as part of our framework. We'll also choose some random quick to use front ends. That's it. These are the 5 steps we are going to do. Very simple, not too complicated. Now, coming back to the database layer. Why? Because each of these things need to be set up, except for Cloud Run. It doesn't have to be set up so much. You can set it up after you build the application. But the database needs to be set up, because even before you think of ideas to build your application, You need to know what data you have, how you're going to store it. So designing your database is equally important. That's one of the first and foremost things you need to do when it comes to building your applications. Think about what data you're going to be dealing with, how you're going to rack it, or how you're going to store it, whether you want to store it in a relational database schema, or you want a document database, or you're going to use cloud storage, or a combination of both. All of these three. So things like that, that kind of decision making needs to be done. However, I've established already that we are going to use a relational database. If I've not established, then I'm doing it now. We are going to use relational database throughout the season. We are going to use AlloyDB in today's session and also tomorrow's. We have the Cloud SQL equivalents of it in the season agenda. You can see it in codevipassana.dev. Yeah. So let's get started. What are we going to do today? We are going to create an AlloyDB instance and cluster, because I said AlloyDB is our database of choice. And we are going to create the cluster, and then inside the cluster, we'll create an instance. And this is because that's how AlloyDB functions. You need the database, and then you need to create the table, the data, and then you start building the application, right? So previously, if you've attended past sessions in the previous seasons, or you've used AlloyDB in general, a lot of people have informed that it's too, what do you call that, secure, or this networking setup steps are like too many in order, because AlloyDB is configured for that kind of a security and firewall and that kind of protection for your data. So setting it up, a lot of complexity and time and effort to understand which steps to go for and what's next. So this time we intended to simplify that for you. So once we get started hands-on, we want you to experience this, and I want you to see how different it is from how you've been setting it up in the past. So we'll get into the configuration real quick, right? So before going into that, I also want to touch upon why AlloyDB for your business and data applications, business data and AI applications, right? Multiple reasons, but I would say in simple words, if I have to explain this, I would say it's Postgres on steroids. Why? Because it's capable of doing everything that Postgres, if you're a Postgres user, you'll know how convenient it is for AI analytics and ML. So many people have done ML. You would have done probably ML applications and use cases with Postgres database, but AlloyDB is just capable of compatible of doing all of those things, but on steroids, which means it's highly scalable, highly available, highly like high speed, like 100x faster than your traditional standard Postgres instances. Why? Because that's what it is set up for: the speed, scale, and the security purposes of your standard Postgres functionalities, right? It's a modernized and ultra fast version of Postgres, not just fast, scalable and secure and available also. Now, it's both a transactional and analytical processing use cases you can deal with AlloyDB. The reason is it's inherently columnar in nature. We'll get into all those details later for a different topic. We're not going to talk about columnar engine or analytics use case versus transactional today. Just know that if we are building let's say an application, a banking application, or what we'll build tomorrow, one row at a time, updating a row, creating a row, or your users are like entering their information and storing it. Those are all transactional purposes. Analytical applications will be like you sitting there and giving your executives a report of what happened, how your business went through in the last quarter or last year, or you're building an analytics application for an IPL match and giving the end users access to what are the players like, what is the what are the prediction, what is the prediction of who is going to be the winner of this year's World Cup, or stuff like that. Basically analytics of data that is already available. So think of processing that you can do on top of the data. That's what the analytical use case is. And transactional use cases, the day-to-day, when you're reading a book and you just want to underline specific points, just because those are like immediate consumption, right? Either you use it, you read from it, or you update something in it. When I say a book or a diary, you update something into it, or you read it for consumption, or you create new sections in it and all those things. So that will be your transactional reasons. But if you're purely using it for read-only mode and using it exclusively for making decisions of your mental health of last year, then you take your book out, or your diary, or whatever you call it, your journal out, and you're looking at it, you're putting it through an ML algorithm and say, hey, can you please tell me how my mood swings have been in the past year over this particular time? So that is analytics, versus transaction is you inserting the data in and reading from it one by one. So that's the difference. Our use case is going to be transactional. However, you just know that AlloyDB is capable of both because of its inherent columnar reads or columnar engine nature, it's able to present and read from it really fastly. That's why it's also capable of analytical. Again, native AI integration. Everything that you want to talk about, Gen AI or agents or whatever that you do, calling Gemini from within the scope of data, everything is inherently capable in the scope of AlloyDB itself, which you'll see in one of the sessions this season as well. Superior vector search. Contextual search versus keyword search, right? Like if you go to any app that you're using for ordering food or ordering an Uber maybe nothing contextual, but let's say ordering food, sometimes you're ordering stuff on e-commerce platform, you're describing or you're just typing keywords. If the platform is modernized enough, you should be able to contextually tell the platform to absorb your information and find relevant matches. But if it is an old school system where it's still using keyword based search or not so evolved contextual search, you will have to put in the name of the brand that you're looking for. I'm looking for ABC brand in ABC size or whatever. Whereas if I'm talking to a modernized, like a AlloyDB driven vector search based e-commerce solution, I would search like, I'm looking for, beachwear shoes for women of this particular age and this particular, build or whatever, and I can get contextual matching results. So that's why AlloyDB is superior in vector search, because of its ability to scan data really quickly as well. Performance at scale, like I've already established that it's known for its speed. You can look at all these details later in the code lab. I'm not going to go through it one by one, although we are at the end, so I might as well just cover the last one, which is the availability. It's 99.99% because it's a cloud service, which is inclusive of its maintenance. It's available at 99.99%, which means it's fully managed and it's able to be available at almost all times, like 99%, 99.99% of the times. So that's a really important metric if you're running production grade applications on any database. All right. So with that, we all know why AlloyDB is awesome. I mean, I'm a big fan, so I always use the word AlloyDB and awesome together. So I don't want you to buy it for its for what I'm saying. You have to use it and experience it. However, just know that we are using trial credits only, which has been already sent to you, and we'll all set it up together right now if you've already not already done it. So today's applications are totally fine. There'll be applications tomorrow or later where you'll have to deal with a lot of data embeddings and stuff much later, not tomorrow's session, maybe the fourth session or third session, where you might find it difficult because it's trial credits. You might be like, okay, it's quota limit has reached and stuff like that, but that's okay. That's only because it's trial credits, but you'll still be able to see how fast AlloyDB is for bare minimum updates and inserts, not AI driven ones, because there are quota limits for trial credits, of course. Yeah. So anyway, with that, we are at 8:30 mark. So let's get started with the hands-on. I'm going to do AlloyDB setup along with you right now. But before I get started, can you all express to me your interest and your enthusiasm in getting into the hands-on part by showing your thumbs, like show of thumbs, using the thumbs up emoji, please? You're ready to do the hands-on? Folks, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can someone confirm?
Yeah, we are.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, Abirami, we are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you
are audible.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because
Yeah,
Yes,
we are
madam.
getting the link, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
one
Yes,
second,
ma'am.
just make sure.
Perfecto.
Okay, I'm still audible to all of you, right?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's get started. Sorry for the interruption. I had a little difficulty with the swap, so that's probably why this happened. So let's get started with the hands-on part. Thank you for the thumbs up. I just noticed that there are too many thumbs up. Initially, it didn't show up for me. So I'm going to go easy on the, yes, I'm not sharing my screen yet. I'm going to do right now. Yeah, thank you. Enough with the thumbs up. That's why we got stuck in the first place. Yes, let's talk about languages later. Please don't use the chat for that right now. Not the problem. I love you. I can also speak a little bit of Telugu, but that's not why I'm saying that. It's distracting. Cool. Yes, you have to build your labs, do the labs right now. So let's get your laptops out if you're not having it ready while I set it up, right? So open the Codelabs. I'm sure you already have your Codelabs open. Let me also quickly share my screen again. Perfect. So here we are. Can you all confirm that you're able to see my screen? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just use the thumbs up.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
enough. 1 or 2 is enough. Please don't continue to keep showing it because it's making that noise. All right. So remember you had the credits link. So copy that credits link. It's CVS-13, sorry, CVS-13-S1, right? I'm going to sign out and sign in with my personal Gmail account. That's what you should do because that's when you will be able to activate your credits. So watch carefully. This is an important step. So you all already have the credits link that was shared. If not, leave one of you, please do share the link here. So I'm logged in with my personal Gmail account. Sorry, there's a mistake here. Okay. There we go. It's loading my credit. The credit link is shared with you in the chat already. So it says click here to access your credit. Once you hit that from your personal Gmail account Chrome tab, you should be able to see the screen that says click here to access your credits. Go ahead and click that. And then you will see step 2. This has your first name, last name, the coupon code text, and then accept and continue button in the bottom left of the page. Go ahead and click accept and continue. It will take a few seconds for you to see credit successfully applied. Perfect. So I got my credit successfully applied and my credits, that is billing page, is loaded. It says $0. Don't panic. This is how much you've spent, not how much is credited. So you've spent $0 in this new account. So don't worry about it. Now, there are 2 parts here. This is for folks who are brand new, building for the first time with Google.
Get any credits, ma'am?
You are going to create a brand new project, and then you're going to associate this billing account with this project. Yeah, that is one route. The second route is folks who already have Google Cloud projects, but they want to associate with this particular billing account. You folks can wait. If you're not going to create a new project, don't worry. We have it as part of our quick setup tool, so we can associate with the right project later, a right billing account later. So you guys who are using existing projects, who want to use existing projects with the new billing account, please hold on. For the folks who have activated your billing account and you're going to create a brand new Google Cloud project, follow the steps that I'm going to do right now. First of all, click the Google Cloud logo. It will take you to the landing page like this. You should see this landing page or something similar. And in the open project picker, you may or may not be seeing any project at all. In my case, I have a project already created, so it shows it off. But in some of your cases, it may not show any project there at all. Don't worry, just click there. And you should see a pop-up dialog that says select a project or new project creation. In the top right corner, you should see a new project button. Click that, create a brand new project. I'm not going to create it because I already have projects so many, but I'm just going to show you how to create it. Just add your project name. And in the billing account list, you should see Google Cloud Platform trial billing account that was just added by you, right? Just now we redeemed it. So click that one, all right? And leave location as it is. Don't do anything there. Let me create a new project too, no problem. Pin one, yeah? Leave it as it is and then click create. That's it. It will take a few seconds and it will create the brand new project that we are waiting for.
Ma'am, once again, repeat it, ma'am, please.
Use the chat to ask questions, please. We won't repeat these steps too many times. It is there in the code lab that was shared with you. The redeem, how to, yeah, the leads are just pinging right now. Use those labs to follow the instructions, because it might be confusing for the folks who are mid-step. What you have to do is basically copy the credits link that was shared with you, open that in a Google Chrome tab where you have your personal Gmail account logged in. And once you open that link, you will have to click the button that says next step or accept and continue. Do that, and it'll take a few seconds and you will get the credits redeemed. Once the credits are redeemed, it will land you on the Google Cloud Console landing page. Once you get on the Google Cloud landing page, on the left corner, you should see the project listed here. But if it is the first time and there is no project listed, just click the project picker, this particular point, just click it. Once you click the drop down, you will see a dialog box that says select a project or create new project in the top right corner. Click create new project and it will give you 3 fields. One is the project name. Second one is a billing account drop down. From the billing account drop down, choose the newly created billing account. And the last one, the organization name, just leave it as it is. Don't change anything. And then click create. The moment you click create, it will automatically create your project. In my case, let's say if the project is created. I created it as season 13-1. Yes, it is created. So I'm going to select that particular one. So this is for folks who are creating a brand new project for the first time in Google Cloud and associating it with a newly created billing account. This is also for the folks who wanted to create a brand new project, whether or not they already have a project. But how will you associate the newly created billing account to this project? That we'll see in just a bit. This is just for the newbies who have created the project for the first time. I hope this is done. Show of thumbs. Awesome. Thank you. Let's move on to the next step. Now that we have created, for folks who already have a project or want to create a new project but want to associate your project to the newly created billing account. We'll see that now in a bit, but this is for everybody. This step is for everybody. We are going to set up AlloyDB. We have created a one-step process where you click this button and automatically get your cluster and instance created. Yeah. Kindly refrain from unmuting and speaking. Please ask your questions in the chat or use the Discord channel to ask questions. I understand you may have questions that are totally irrelevant to the step that we are on right now. I request you all to refrain from asking those questions. If you have issues creating a project, just ask that specific question because we're really at that step right now. I think, leads, you don't have to answer questions that are not related to the current step. Don't worry about it. Just ignore, because I have given the instructions to only ask questions related to the current step and the current lab that we are focusing on. Yeah. If coupon code is fully redeemed, let me just quickly check that. Fully redeemed. Please mute who are, I can hear some noise. It is distracting for the folks on the call, please. Somebody is unmuted. I don't know who, but leads, if you find them, just let them know. I'm just trying to see if all the credits are. No, credits are still there. You should be able to. Access them. If it says it's fully redeemed, it's probably because you have already redeemed it. You're trying to click that button twice, so don't worry about it. It means you have already redeemed. Yeah. All right. Now, in the interest of time, we have to keep moving. There is a code lab dedicated to how to create your credits, which has been shared with you and pinned in the chat. Please use that. All right. Now, moving on to creating AlloyDB cluster instance, like I mentioned. There is a one-click run in the step 4 of the code lab. So go ahead and click that. Once you click that, it will open Cloud Shell terminal, or you can, another thing you can do is you can right click and copy link address from that particular button. Don't click it if it is there in a completely different Gmail account or different account, user email account. In my case, it is in a different Google account. So I'm going to right click this one click and run button, copy link address and navigate back to my tab where I have the Google Cloud console open from my personal Gmail account, right? So I'm going to navigate into that particular tab and open a new tab and make sure that particular email account is selected. All right. And then I'm going to paste that link. In your case, you can just directly click that button if you're in the right tab already and hit enter. What this will do is it will clone the GitHub repository, or you can manually do that also. There is a GitHub repo that you see, right? github.com/Abirami Sukumaran/EC-AlloyDB-setup. You have to check the trust repo option and then click confirm. Once you do that, what it'll do is it'll ask you to authorize. Go ahead and authorize. And then it will open your Cloud Shell editor. Now I'm going to do that in my personal Gmail account. I'm going to repeat the steps in my personal Gmail account. Don't worry about it. You continue to do what I just instructed you all. You have to click the button and make sure your Cloud Shell terminal is open. For folks who have Codelab open in a different email account from your Google Cloud Console, make sure you copy the link and navigate into the tab where you have Google Cloud Console open and open that button there. So you should see this screen. It should have cloned the repo. It should have opened this particular tutorial on the right, which says AlloyDB easy setup for development purposes. It is asking you to click start. Hold right there because let's do it together. First, let it complete. My terminal is loading in my personal Gmail account. I hope this will be the case with you all as well. Don't worry about what I'm doing. All right. So by default, if you properly click that button and you're sure you're within the same Google account where you have your Google Cloud Console open, it should automatically, once you click that button, it should have automatically cloned the repository and directly opened your Google Cloud terminal along with the learning tutorial on the right-hand side, along with making sure that you have your terminal pointing to the EC AlloyDB setup folder. So you're all set. All you have to do is click the start button and see what the next step is, which is run.sh. Just copy that command, close it, yeah. And then what you have to do is come back to your Cloud Shell terminal, paste that command that you just copied, run.sh. Make sure you're within that folder. You should automatically put you in that folder, working folder, the cloned repository. So it's not it should not be an issue. But for folks who have followed me and run the git clone repository, you have to make sure you're within the right folder. Yeah, and then paste that command, which is run.sh, hit enter. So now it is setting up the AlloyDB provisioner, the quick setup tool, and you should see the Flask app is running in your local host. That's it. Now you have to click this button and this web app, the tiny web app, which is going to help you set up the AlloyDB cluster and instance, should be open right there in your new tab. Show of thumbs, how many of you got to this step? Okay, thank you. Thanks for confirming. I'm not opening chat right now. I hope the leads are there to help you with the questions. If you have errors or if you have other things, you probably did not click or open the tab or the button in the right project. Okay, this is one thing that you need. Okay, for folks who, please refrain from submitting crabs or from sending the crab emojis. This is distracting and very, very unprofessional. So I don't know what you're trying to convey with that, but please don't do that. Thank you. So now just a quick pivot for those who are able to get this tab open and who wanted to link your billing account, the newly created billing account, to an existing project or a new project. This is the most important step. For folks who have created a brand new project for the first time ever and you have only one project and one billing account, you don't have to worry about this. You don't have to do this step. Okay. So others, follow me. You're going to make sure you enter the new project that you've just created, the project ID, not the project name. So make sure you click the project picker and see what the project ID is. In my case, my project name is season 13-1 and my project ID is the same. But in most cases, it won't be the same. Make sure you copy the ID, not the name, and paste it here in the app that is running, which you just cloned, right? You cloned and run it. So you paste your Google Cloud project ID there. Now, billing account, you don't have to enter. It will automatically pick the most active. When I say active, the one that has enough or credits that are available, that is active billing account. It will pick the recent, one of the latest billing accounts, trial billing accounts that you have. It will look for trial billing accounts. It will not link to your other non-trial billing accounts. So don't worry. You can, unless you have a specific billing account name, you can just leave it empty and then click the button link to active billing account. I'm going to do that. Successfully linked my project. So I got the success message, which is great. My message is successfully linked project to billing account, blah, 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 which is what I wanted. So you should have received that as well. So you don't have to worry much. Folks who were able to do this step, can you confirm? Perfect. Okay, let me see the error. One of the errors. Gcloud billing accounts list, you do not have an active billing account. Gcloud auth login. Yeah, so for most folks, if you just open the Google Cloud console page for the first time today, and you're creating a project and all these steps that we did right now, you are already authenticated, you wouldn't have an issue. So I'm assuming, Varun, or whoever asked that question, I'm assuming that you already had it open and you probably timed out or something. So for folks who have that issue in the console that says you're not authenticated, you have to run that command that it provides. It says gcloud auth list or auth login, whatever it's asking you to run that command. It'll ask you to authenticate and verify yourself. That's it. That's just a simple step. Do that. And then clone the repository and run the step shrun.sh. Once you run shrun.sh, I see a few people asking me the question, what should I do after I run this? Good question. Once you run it, it means your server is up and your application is running in your local host. You see the links there on the terminal. As you can see in my screen, the one that says 127.0.0.1 and port 8080, just click that. Once you click that, it'll automatically open the application that you see on my screen. It should open this. And you have to, if you had to do billing setup, you need to do it. But I'm guessing in most cases, you didn't have to because you created a brand new project altogether. All right. So in the interest of time, we have to move on and do the AlloyDB setup because we will answer more questions when we are waiting for the AlloyDB cluster and instance to set up. It will take 10-15 minutes. So we'll have more time to answer your questions then. All right. So please follow along and continue doing the AlloyDB setup with me. You will have to wait after that. That's why. All right. So click the AlloyDB setup tab. Once you click that, you will see Google Cloud Project ID. Again, there will be a placeholder, or in your case, it might be empty. Just put in the newly created project, the same one that you used in billing setup, or the same one that you just created, or the correct project ID. I told you how to get the project ID, right? You have to go to Google Cloud Console tab, where you have the project picker right next to the Google Cloud logo. Click that and copy the ID from there. Once, just the ID. That's what you enter right here in the project ID field. Region, select US Central 1. If you refresh list, you will get a lot more regions, but you just want US Central 1. So just stick to that. Cluster name, you can use the default ones that are showing if you don't have clusters with that name, which I'm guessing not, because it's very, very, it'll be very coincidental if you had a cluster and instance with exactly the same names. Yeah. Database password, for the sake of simplicity and the sake of demo application, keep your password as AlloyDB. In the real world, don't share your password, right? AlloyDB, all small. That's my database password. Okay. Click start deployment. That's it. Deployment started, and you will see the logs and summary of logs in the black screen right in the deployment section. Now that it will take about 15 minutes for this process, 10 to 15 minutes for this process to complete, I'm going to take some questions from the chat. Please don't unmute or anything. I'll go through the questions myself. And leads, feel free to bump up a few questions that you think are mandatory. By the way, show of thumbs, how many of you got to this point and clicked the setup AlloyDB button? Thank you. Thanks for confirming. For folks who had the G-Cloud billing projects error, um, you cannot have the same project ID as me. Okay. I don't know what your project ID is. You have to use your right project ID. Yeah. And if it says you do not have permission to activate billing, make sure you're in the personal Gmail account, Google Cloud account or Google Cloud project, and make sure you're selecting or you're creating a brand new project, and make sure you activated the billing account, and then you will be able to go through that step. If you're unable to catch up, or if you're stuck beyond explanation, don't worry. You have a Discord channel where we'll answer your questions. And also, besides that, you will get a recording. You will also have the Codelab, which tells you how to activate credits. So you can always do this at the end of this. This session is going to end in like 45 minutes. So after that, you have a lot of time to follow the instructions and do it on your own. But at the same time, you'll also be able to do it and submit the results till 27th. So don't panic if you're stuck. Just follow along as much as you can. For folks who are able to follow along and you got to this point, just wait until the AlloyDB cluster and instance are set up. If you get errors like no open billing accounts or something, it's probably because you did not do the credit activation step. That's why. Database password is AlloyDB, all small. Like this. You can enter anything you want. Just remember what you entered. That's all. All right. So I'm going to go see what happened with my cluster and instance. So it's going on. I'm getting some messages here that says cluster firewall rules are being set up. PSA, private services access range is created. So basically, ideally, all of these things can be done manually by you as well. If you see the repository that you cloned, if you're interested, if you're curious, just go and see the repo that was cloned, right? If you're in the terminal, if you click open editor, you will be able to see what exactly is going on. You can toggle between terminal and editor by clicking this button, right? You can see the cloned application, which you just cloned right now. You'd be able to see what exactly is going on in the create AlloyDB shell script. It is creating your cluster. It is creating VPC network. It is creating private services access range. It is creating AlloyDB cluster here. It will take a few minutes to create the cluster and instance, but that's the one that takes the most time. I mean, not most time, but it takes about 10 minutes because that's how it's designed. That's it. Once it's complete, you'll get this message deployment complete. So let's see. Okay, in my case, cluster creation is completed. Instance creation is going on. So I'll give it a few more minutes. Once all of this is complete and the instance is also created, in the summary tab, you will be able to see what all happened, and you will need to take a copy of everything that is displayed in the summary tab so you can use it in the application that we are going to build in the next 5 minutes. Yeah, so I'll wait here peacefully until you all catch up to this particular step. For folks who are in the same step as me, as I am, folks who are waiting for the instance creation to get completed, make sure you have the second lab open, which is the connect your application to AlloyDB data and deploy in Cloud Run. I'm not going to go through the steps now yet. Just keep it open so that you know where to look right after we complete the step. Yes. Invalid resource state. So for folks who are still in connecting billing and project, by default, your project, newly created project and billing account will be connected. If this is Amrita Hasani, if this is the first time you're creating Google Cloud project, and if it's the first time you're creating the billing account, it'll automatically be linked. You don't have to do anything. I mentioned that step for folks who are repeat attendees who already have multiple Google Cloud accounts where they want to make sure that they are not using a non-trial billing account accidentally for this particular trial application. That's why I included that step. However, if you're interested, if you're in that bucket list of people who are who have multiple projects, then what you should do is in this application that opened up, the localhost application that's running, right? The create a AlloyDB cluster application. There are two tabs, number 1 and 2. Number 1 is billing setup. Click billing setup, enter your project ID, Google Cloud project ID, which I told you how to find, and then leave the billing account name empty because it will look for the trial billing account which you just created, activated. And then click link to active billing account. It'll take about 5 seconds and it'll automatically link it behind the scenes for you. I hope that helped. For folks who got network clearing errors and other stuff, make sure you're in your personal Gmail account, because that is mandatory. Oh, and also another thing was mandatory before you begin step, which in case you have missed out, that is a mandatory step as well. You have to enable the required APIs. That should not typically fail anyone, because it automatically enables it if required. In the process, that's how this script is designed. However, if you find yourself in that loop, click this, go to step 2 in the lab. Those who got errors in the deployment process, not for anything else, not because of your fault. I'm guessing it should be the enabling APIs, which is in step 2, before you begin step, right? Go to before you begin step, scroll down in the bottom of the page, point number 7. There is a enable required APIs step, right? Follow the link, and the link part is blue, this hyperlink part. The right click, copy link address, and come back to your window or tab wherever you have the personal Gmail account open. Open the new tab, paste that link that you copied from there, hit enter. It should ask you, make sure you're in the right personal Gmail account, right? That you need to change. And then it will ask you to enable the APIs. You have to go through that step as well. I don't think it should be a problem, but if you find yourself in that situation where you don't have permission error, then this is the reason. You have to enable APIs. Sorry, I missed that part. In the confirm project, click the next button and enable APIs, click enable. That's it. Make sure it's choosing the right project. It's showing the right project. It should by default show the right project. Just click, copy that hyperlink, paste it in the tab where you have your personal Gmail account, where you're doing this whole Google Cloud project, and then click enable. It'll take a few seconds and all these APIs will be enabled. This is why some of you got permissions error, because service networking API was not on. Try this and you should be able to get the AlloyDB set up. Does that help, folks? Okay. Yes, once you enable it, what you'll have to do, you can just do the sh run.sh again from the folder where you have this thing, and then you can just provision. Yeah, you have to basically create a new cluster instance. Just go to that. If it is already having that cluster instance, you have to rename it. Just say -1 or -2 so that it doesn't error out for duplicate names. Yeah. Yeah, for folks who are getting some resources may already exist. It's because you tried creating the instance with the same name again. That's probably why. That's why you're getting that error. Yes, you will get a recording of this tomorrow. All right, now let's see what happened to my application. Instance creation is still going on. It'll take a few more minutes, like maybe 5 minutes. So for folks who get error like duplicates or resource already exists, cluster is created but instance is not created, it's possible that you have an instance already with the same name. Or for folks who get the service networking permission error and stuff like that, it's probably because you don't have the APIs enabled. So go back, enable APIs, and once you have the run.sh step completed, you have to click open the application again and make sure you choose a different name this time for your cluster and instance. Sorry, also for your this thing. Um, yeah, cluster and instance. Previously, it would have been my AlloyDB cluster, my primary inst. Maybe you can add a _1, _2, or whatever. Yeah. Or you can just go by something more meaningful. Make sure the names don't have any special characters. Just keep it to hyphens and underscores, or just hyphens. Yes, you will get a recording of this. What we are doing right now is what we explained even before the session the hands-on part started. We are trying to set up database for our application. So in order to set up database, we want to create a AlloyDB cluster and instance. And in order to create cluster instance and everything, we should have all the APIs enabled. In most cases, these APIs have not proved to be any point of friction because we already have those covered in the scripts. But in some of your cases, we feel that you got errors. So we did go back and do that forcefully anyway. So like I just said, I'd repeat those steps again. In the code lab number 1, which is AlloyDB quick setup lab, if you go to step 2 before you begin, scroll down to the bottom of that step, you'll see point number 7. It says enable the required APIs, follow the link, and the link is blue in color, the hyperlink. Right click, copy link address, and come back to the tab where you have Google Cloud Console open a new tab, and paste that link in the search bar and then hit enter. It should automatically take you to the right project. If not, make sure the right project is picked and hit enter. Once you hit enter, it'll ask you to confirm project, and it will give you the list of APIs that you're enabling, and then it will have the enable button enabled. In my case, I just enabled it, so you see it disabled. Click that enable button. It'll take a few seconds and it'll complete enabling. And once you did that, once you're done with that, come back to the application which is running in your shell, in your terminal. You should see that app open already. So what you have to do is you have to either kill that instance, click that link again and open a new application in another tab, or kill that and just run the run.sh again and open this application by clicking the 127.0.0.1 :8080 port, the link hyperlink to the local application that's running, right? Open that again, and then make sure you provide a new cluster name and new instance name. Same password is okay. Just provision the right project ID and choose US Central 1 and click deploy. Once deployment is complete, like in my case, the button is grayed out and I have deployment complete message there. And if you see, the tab switched from logs to summary, and I have my basic information done. I have my cluster, I have my instance, I have the region, I have project ID, which is all already known because I was the one who provided these information. However, what you don't know is the name of the VPC network and subnet, which is configured in the easy setup code behind the scenes, which I showed to you, what is there in the shell script. That is right here. So you need to take a copy of all this basic information, copy that. You also need IP address for using it in your application. So click that reveal private IP, make sure you're not in a public place or you're not showing it off. In my case, since it's a trial application, I'm going to show it anyway. Click that button, it's fetching it. And as you can see right here, I have it listed in this particular area. So it's copied to clipboard. So I'm going to paste it in my temporary text pad. So I have my cluster, I have my instance, I have my host port, and the password that I set. I have everything I need to access this application. That's it. The step is complete. Now I'm all set to move on to the next step, which is the second code lab. But before that, a quick check. How many of you got your instance created successfully? Show of thumbs, please. Thanks for confirming. And we'll wait about a minute or two here for folks to switch between contexts. If you're stuck beyond explanation and you don't know what's going wrong, don't worry about it. Just continue and finish the lab after the session is complete. Follow the code lab clearly. Don't forget to enable APIs if you're one of those folks who encountered an issue because of that. Yeah, make sure you copy the credentials that just got generated in the summary tab. No, you should not get. What is a Ruxana? Can you just your messages cut off in between? Your summary of error is not very clear. What I would recommend, however, is you should not get any such error because you're not trying to deploy anything outside of the cloud console. You're not trying to do if your API is enabled and all you're trying to do is just create a cluster and instance. So make sure you're doing it in a project of your choice in your personal Gmail account. It should not give you course origin errors and stuff. Some resources may already exist. It's probably because you have repurposed the name. You probably already have a cluster. But if it's just a warning, I would say leave it. But if cluster name is if it's an error, it's not proceeding, it's not deploying it, then you have to change the cluster and instance name. It's very clear. The warning message is green. You won't see, for example, I'll show I already copied, so I'm switching back to the logs to show. So if you're seeing this warning, like you're seeing in my screen as well, it also showed something similar to me. It says the PSA already exists or some stuff already exists. You don't see it because it's scrolled past now. I also got that warning, but that is fine. What you would have to worry about is make sure you don't have the same. If you are attempting this for the second time, don't have the same cluster name because it's already there. You'll have to go into Google Cloud Console's AlloyDB console page and delete that cluster. We'll do that later. But make sure if you're trying for the second time, choose a different cluster name. Because if you have the same cluster name, it'll say it already exists. Maybe just whatever you want, your cluster name can be, you can name it to 2 from 1, from what you have already. Just have something meaningful but different. Okay, for folks who are not logged in, this will not usually happen if you're using it for the first time because it will take some time to load your Cloud Shell console, Cloud Shell terminal and editor. It'll make sure that you're logged in and your project ID is showing. So common mistakes. So if you go to the lab, if you go to the code lab, not the console, but the code lab, there is a step that says, okay, probably common issues, frequently occurred errors or what errors is probably not here in this lab, but it's there in the second code lab. I'll walk you through that. But what can go wrong, I'll tell you. When you're trying to set up this AlloyDB configuration, this app that allows you to set up AlloyDB cluster and instance, you are doing it all in terminal, right? It's a quick command line interface. So how is it? What can go wrong? Your terminal will not be pointing to the project that you're currently created, where you want to create this AlloyDB instance, right? So make sure it is pointing to the right project. Like in my case, see, let me stop the server in this case. As you can see right here, it is showing season 13-1. That is my actual project. That's my project that I just created, Google Cloud project. So it's correct. If you're not seeing your project ID in this particular place in the terminal prompt, then it means it is not pointing to your project. So for folks who are encountering that issue, you have to run the command gcloud config set project followed by the project ID. In my case, it's season 13-1. I'm going to set it anyway, even though I already have it correct, just to show to you that this is a harmless step where it sets your project. But it's mandatory if it's not pointing to the right project. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in the chat. I'm going to close this application because mine is done. So I'll come back to the meeting chat. I'll paste this link here. You have to enter your project ID here. So run this command in your terminal if it is not pointing to the right project. This is one commonly occurring error. The second error, as one of you rightly pointed out, that you're not authenticated. So you should do gcloud auth login. But the error messages will be very explanatory in this case. It will tell you what command to execute to make sure you're logged in, you're authenticated. So you have to run this gcloud auth login. It will ask you to verify. I'm not going to do that right now because that process will open another tab. I have to copy. This is a security step, which you don't want to do right now, but I'm already authenticated, right? So gcloud auth login, it will ask you to click a link and copy the passcode and paste it here. All that is like self-explanatory steps. Once you're logged in, then you go ahead and run the git clone repo step. Or in other words, repo is already cloned. You don't have to clone it again. Just make sure you're inside the right cloned project. In this case, in my case, I already have the project folder. So I created a new folder called ec-AlloyDB. In your case, it should be ec-AlloyDB-setup. Make sure you're within that particular project folder and then run the run.sh command. What will that do? That command will help you start the server for this quick interface that we have built for you to set up AlloyDB. Then what did you do? I came to AlloyDB setup. I put in the project ID that I'm working with. US Central 1 is the region of choice. You all choose the same for this trial application. You can use the default cluster instance if you've not already if you've not already used it once. If you're trying this for the second time or third time, keep changing the cluster name. You can once for all go back and delete all the old clusters that you're not using anymore later. I'll tell you how to do that at the end of the session. But rename the cluster instance to be unique for your project. Yeah. And then provision a database password of your choice. You have to remember it. So don't just enter anything and then ask me what your password is. And then click deploy button. In my case, deployment is complete, so it's grayed out. And then the logs will show the progress. And once, like in my case and in some of our developers' case in the call, deployment is complete, it will show some warning about, I'm going to create this, I'm going to do that. Ignore all that. Only if it stops and says, I cannot create a cluster because you don't have permission, or I cannot create instance because you don't have permission, only then go back and check what your issue is. Whether you have missed the step to enable APIs or something else is preventing you. Use Gemini. Just open gemini.google.com and copy paste that issue and say what console setting I should do. Simple. It's as simple as that. It will give you the response immediately for your error. Try vibe coding as we built, so that you're not vibe coding necessarily, but you're vibe solving the problems. You're just copy pasting the error and asking instructions. Tell me how to fix this from console. And stuff like that, right? So go to Gemini and ask the right question. Okay, I got this network error. Don't say I'm using this quick setup tool because it will not have idea what the tool is, right? You just have to be asking generic questions to get specific answers, and then you will be able to solve that. Yeah. And once this is done, once deployment is complete, it will take you to the summary tab naturally, and you should see the basic information. Copy that, or just do the reveal private IP and copy. And once you copy that, it will fetch everything together. All of it will be copied together, so you don't have to copy anything specifically. And then paste it somewhere so you can repurpose this in our application 2, which we're going to build right now. All right, so congrats and kudos for everyone who has completed till this step. And kudos to everyone who's still trying and still in the call trying to do this. And congrats to everyone who's going to try it later after the session's completed as well. So don't worry about it. It's not rocket science. It's all there. You just have to solve it. Yes. So Mahi, you have asked a very important question. Brilliant. But it's a question that I already addressed. I already mentioned the answer to. I showed you what happens behind the scenes. If you want to explore it yourself, I'll show you I'll show you the path. What you have to do is go to the Google Cloud console where you have the terminal open. Click Open Editor. Go to the project folder. Go to the file create AlloyDB.sh or go to the run.sh and see what it's doing. It's calling the file create AlloyDB.sh in the process. It's calling main.py, which behind the scenes is calling this. Go to create AlloyDB.sh, the shell script. You will have every single command. What it's doing behind the scenes, it's configuring your project. It's enabling all the APIs. That's why I said it's not needed, because the enabling API step is taken care of in the step itself. And then network setup, it's doing network setup. It's doing private services access setup. It's a bunch of G-Cloud commands that I've just strung together for easy setup. That's all. You can do this without this app utility. You can just copy paste this scripts one by one and run it from your Cloud Shell terminal. It will work. But I'm not going to do that right now. That's why this simple app was built, so that you can set up easily. And then create cluster, create instance. That's all it is doing. But great question, Mahi. All right, folks. Done. Now we are moving on to second application, Codelab. Leads, can you please ping the link to the second Codelab in the chat? The connect to AlloyDB on Cloud Run Lab. Overview. What we're going to do really quickly. We have already built the AlloyDB, not built, we have already created, configured AlloyDB cluster instance. Make sure from the summary tab, you've clicked the reveal private IP and copy and pasted it somewhere. All right. Once you paste it, you can go ahead and close the stuff. Don't close the Cloud Shell, Google Cloud Console, just the app snippet. Unless you want to keep seeing it, it's your wish. Yeah. Now coming back to the second lab, what we are going to do is, using the clustered instance that we have just created, we are going to build a sample application. This application will just connect to the database, and then it will create a table and insert one record in it. Even though it is it's an application, you can create a table and insert data from database directly, but we are going to do that through an application because we want to see how to deploy an application to Cloud Run and make sure it uses AlloyDB. Right? So now we are building a skeleton, which you can then use to build whatever you want later, right? So that's why we are building the skeleton today. So good news is that you already have completed the first 4 steps by completing lab 1. However, I'm just going to walk you through the before you begin step. Like I said, if you didn't authenticate, it will error out. So you'll have to do the G-Cloud auth login. You'll have to configure the project. If the Google Cloud Shell terminal was not showing your project ID, you have to run the G-Cloud config set project, which I pinged in the chat. But this will only happen as long as you're working on the AlloyDB setup step in the Cloud Shell terminal. Now we are out of it. We are looking at the lab. Database setup, which we have already done, the one-click run and database setup, sh run.sh, everything is done and complete. Now we are moving on to step 4. Create the sample application to test the connection. This is what we want to test. So I have made this code available in this repository. All right. So what we're going to do right now is go to step 4 of this code lab. It says git clone, verify easy AlloyDB connection. Copy that git clone step. Copy code sample option is there, right? So just copy this from the code lab. Come back to your Cloud Console, Google Cloud Console, where you have the terminal open. Make sure you run a cd dot and come out of the project that you're currently in. Why? Because that was a easy AlloyDB setup project that was cloned in, right? You don't want to continue to work on that. You know why, right? Because that's a different project. Now we are moving into a completely different project. Now that you have created the AlloyDB cluster instance, we no longer care about that project. All right. So I'm going to do cd space dot. Cd thinks I invoked it. So anyway, click enter. Now I'm outside the project folder. I'm right in my root folder, and it's still showing my project ID, which is great. If it is not showing your project ID, go back and run that G-Cloud config set project ID. That is important. It should show your project ID. Only then it will clone it in the right project. Now go back to the code lab. Make sure you copy the git clone step. Come back to the terminal. Paste it right here. So what I'm doing in this step is I'm cloning the verify EC AlloyDB connection project into this particular Google Cloud editor. Perfect. My project is cloned. Now I'm going to open editor and check whether it's showing that. I'll refresh it by clicking the refresh explorer button. Yes, the project is appearing here. It says verify easy AlloyDB connection. I expand the project. You also expand and see what is in there. It is a Python Flask application. How do you know? It has all the relevant files. If you see that, it has the templates folder, it has app.py, it has a Docker file of all things. It has requirements.txt that has the Flask library in it. So you know that it's a Python Flask application. Now go to app.py. If you go to app.py, you can see what it's doing. Basically, nothing. It is just invoking this method verify connection dot test connection. Where is verify connection? There it is. Now it is invoking verify connection. Click verify connection.py and see what it's doing. This is the part that you need to make code change. Go back to the code lab and see what you have to do. Next step in step number 4, make changes to the verify connection.py file so that it connects to the AlloyDB setup that we have just configured in the previous lab, right? DB host, port, name, user, database name, database username, database password. All these information we need to provide right now. Go back to the place where you pasted that configuration details. Remember, it revealed your IP address and stuff for the database. Go to that one. Now you know what your host is. Copy the host from there. Come to the Cloud Shell editor where you're editing your project. Where you see double angle brackets, select that, paste it, paste the new host. Yeah. This is hard coded here. Technically, paste it within quotes, please. Yeah. This is hard coded here. Technically, you would it's recommended and it's the best practice. It is mandatory to use environment variables, but just for this example, we'll go with the hard coded approach. Right? Database password, whatever it is you entered, put that. I entered this and I recommended you all enter AlloyDB. So go with that. If you changed it, make sure you remember what you entered and you enter it here. That's it. This is my setup. This is my configuration. Just the host name port. Where did I get the host name from? From the copy pasted information when the application was AlloyDB was configured, when the configuration was complete. Right here in the summary tab, I clicked the reveal private IP. It was showing. It already ended. The session ended. That's why it's showing error, because I closed that long back. That's why the application is no longer running. So that's why you see error, but don't worry about it. I'm going to give a pause right here to make sure all of you have completed up to step number 4 in the code lab. Show of thumbs, please. We are still in step 4. Yeah. So just to quickly walk you through step 4, it's very simple. What we have done is we are starting off this lab with step 4. Why? Because we have already completed the database step in the previous lab. If you have not, you can also ditch the lab 1 and completely start with lab 2 and do everything we did in lab 1 and the one step in lab 2, which is step number 3. So in step number 4, what we're doing is we are going to use the AlloyDB configuration we have done in step 3 or in the previous lab in creating a brand new application, which has only one job, which we'll see what it is right now. But before that, in this step, we are going to clone the repository that I've given to you, where I've just built this application that will verify the AlloyDB connection that we have just created. And it has the configuration to connect to the AlloyDB cluster instance, which we created previously. That's all we are doing. So copy this git clone step, go to your Cloud Shell terminal, make sure you're in the root directory, not inside some project directory. So use cd/ or use cd space ... to come out of folder. Cd space ... will bring you one folder out, and cd/ will bring you, or just cd, I think one of those two things will bring you completely to the root directory. I am going to clone this new project in the root directory. So I copied that command and I ran it here. It cloned the repository into my root folder. So I have a project folder within the root folder right now. So how would you know that? I will do a dir or ls. It will list all the projects. And in my case, it is listing the newly created project, which is verify EC AlloyDB connection. So I will run a cd and paste this project name. It will navigate into the project folder. If you do a quick list here, you will see all the files within that folder, which is everything that we discussed. Now, if you want to edit this, click Open Editor in the Cloud Shell terminal. It will take you to the editor. Refresh on the left Navigation Explorer pane. the AlloyDB connection. And then that's the project. You should see the project. You should see all the files within the project. So we checked app.py because that's the starting point. What it's doing is it's just invoking the verify connection button within its body. So we are going to verify connection py, not button, class. So we are going to this verify connection.py file and we are seeing what it's doing. It's just configuring the AlloyDB that we cluster and instance we have just set up, and it's connecting to it. And then if you scroll down, if you see what it's doing, it is creating a table, which is a very important step. It's creating a table called quick test with 3 fields: ID, info, and created at. And then it's inserting 1 record, and then it's reading it, selecting that data, and then it's closing the connection and says successfully created, connected to your AlloyDB instance. It's fully operational and ready for your AI agents or whatever it is that you want to build. That's it. That's what this Python file does. Now, we also notice that we have something called as Docker file. Let's go to that. Docker file is important. It's a set of instructions, a set of lines of command that you use to tell your packaged, to tell what dependencies you have for your source code so that you can package it, is containerize everything and then roll. Remember in the beginning of the session, we discussed why it is important to deploy it serverlessly so that your application runs on the cloud and anyone can use it. So that's what Dockerfile is responsible for. It helps with all the dependencies and where to start and everything to package your application and help you through the deployment process. So that's the job of Dockerfile. So as you can see right here, you initialize what version of Python you want to use, what is the working directory. So it will copy all the content into the working directory right here, and it will copy all the dependencies here. It will run a pip install of everything that's required from requirements.txt, and then it will copy the content to the working directory, and it will start your application from your entry point, which in our case is app.py, which is what this is. So this is a set of instructions that it tells the runtime for when your application is readily deployed on Cloud Run. That's all the job of Dockerfile is. Now, going back to your Codelab. Currently, we have our application, AlloyDB's private IP setup. But if you want to keep it public, you can go to AlloyDB console, and then you can, which I'll show at some other point. Right now, we don't want to do it. I'm just showing this from the Codelab. You can click and edit the AlloyDB instance and select enable public IP option and put in the 0.0.0.0/0, which means your database is public. Anyone can access your data, which is dangerous. Never do it unless it is for testing or trial applications like up today, what we are doing. But we are not going to still do it, but you can do it and then disable it later if you want. But we don't need to do it. This is exclusively for development purposes only. You can still bypass this step and use it as a private IP, which is what we are doing right now. We don't want to do this step, but this is an option for you if you want to do it. Moving on, deploy to Cloud Run. This is where we are right now. Step 4 complete. Some of you already showed thumbs that you've completed. Can you confirm for step 4? All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to step 5, which is now we have built this application. We are not going to test it locally. Why? We have not enabled public IP. So what we're going to do is deploy to Cloud Run. We'll give access to Cloud Run and tell Cloud Run to access database and run that application for us, right? So all we have to do is take the application that we have created right now. We are not going to test it locally. We're just deploying it directly to Cloud Run, and then we'll test it. If you want to test it locally, you have to enable the public IP, which we are not going to do it right now. Yeah. Which we are not going to do right now. You can do it at your own time if needed, but it's not needed for now because we're going to directly deploy to Cloud Run. So how do we deploy to Cloud Run? In your Cloud Console, go to Open Terminal. We've been an editor so far. If you're an editor, make sure you made all the necessary changes in the verify connection.py file, changing your DB host, changing your password, everything as per your configuration. Once done, click Open Terminal and navigate to Cloud Shell Terminal. Now what we're going to do, make sure you're within the right project folder, which is the Verify Easy AlloyDB connection. Once you're in the right project folder, what you have to do next is come to the Codelabs, step number 5. Run the command gcloud run deploy. So this is what we're going to run. right now. So it has your, so I'll just explain what this code does while the deployment is going on. So just copy this command, come back to the terminal, paste it. Yeah, you don't have to change anything. I'll explain why. Just hit enter. Okay, it's starting to deploy. It has asked me something. I'm just going to say Y. Yes. Y for yes. Yeah, capital Y. Okay, it started deploying. So I'm going to explain to you what it does. This command right here, gcloud run deploy, what it does is it takes your application, because you're saying hyphen source, sorry, yeah, hyphen source space dot. This means based on the source code that you have in the current directory that you're in. Dot means currently where you are right now. I'm taking all the source code and I'm containerizing it, and I'm going to deploy it in region US Central 1. I'm going to use this network. Why this network? Because this is the network that gets configured by default if you used my quick setup application, the previous lab that we did. You don't have to change this. Why? Unless you manually went inside and changed the network name or subnet name, you don't have to change this particular network setup or subnet setup right here. So just keep that information as it is. Unless you went and changed it, you don't have to change this. Yeah. So copy this command as is. It will take this network configuration. It will take this subnet configuration. Uh, allow unauthenticated. What it does is it will allow this application that is, once it gets deployed, it will allow anyone in the internet to access this because it's open. Ideally, if your application is not supposed to be open, don't do that. If your service is secure and you want selected users to use it, then you will have to remove this command and later set up access to people who are allowed to use this particular application. Otherwise, leave it as it is. And VPC egress is all traffic because we have done the configuration to allow all traffic. For not all traffic, we have not set it as public, but still you can do the egress traffic as all traffic because we are already configuring it using the private IP. So it has access for it. So copy this, and by the time we are done, my deployment is done also. I have the service URL generated. So what is going to happen when I click this? Surprise, surprise. There. Success. Your AlloyDB instance is fully operational and ready for your AI agent. Great. But do I trust it? I mean, I want to trust it. I built it, but I also want to verify it, right? So let's test it. But before that, before we go to verification steps, show of thumbs. How many of you successfully completed? Awesome. Thank you for folks who confirmed that you've completed. For folks who were not able to complete, don't lose hope. It's very easy. The recording will be sent to you. You have 2 labs. Every single step that we did here is covered in the lab. And every single error that you encounter is resolved in the second lab. If you see, there is each step has something called as common errors. Why do I not see it? Hold on. It should be there. Okay, it's not there for this particular lab because a very simple lab, but from tomorrow's session onwards, for each particular step, we'll have troubleshooting FAQs. But this one does not require because it's pretty straightforward. Every single step that we did, you will see detailed in the lab. If you encounter some error which you are not able to comprehend, please use Gemini, ask that question, and you'll get it answered. It might be some stupid setting that that's accidentally missed out or something misspelled or anything of that sort. But you have to make sure you're using a personal Gmail account. Sometimes your organization's accounts and security settings might prevent you from, creating VPCs and stuff VPC settings and PSAs that we did right now. So you have to make sure that it's your personal Gmail account and your project that you're creating. All right. Now to the final step, deploying it on Cloud Run, which we have done. And the final step is demo, we have to test it, right? So to confirm it worked, you can see the result on the browser or the logs explorer, but we want to check it in AlloyDB. So if you go to step 6 in the code lab, it says you can navigate to AlloyDB. Right click on the hyperlinked word AlloyDB, copy link address, and go to the tab where you have Google Cloud Console open a new tab, paste this link, and hit enter. Make sure you're in the right Google account, your personal Gmail account. So this will directly take me to AlloyDB console. Just make sure one more thing, it should show the right project where you've created the cluster and instance. Okay, as you can see right here, my cluster and instance are created, which is great. Click the instance name. Once you click it, it will take you to the cluster description page. I'm not going to walk you through the description right now, but I'll show you one quick point where I said you can add 0.0.0.0/0 if you want to keep it public for testing and development purposes, where you can do it. I'll show that. If you scroll down, you will see view connectivity configuration. Click that. You don't have to do it, just watch it on my screen. You click that and you see edit button, click edit, and you should be able to enable public IP and you should be able to add the 0.0.0. I'm not going to do it right now, but you can do it and save, which will make it readily available for you to test with this cluster and instance in your local machine or wherever you're accessing it from, because it's public. However, remember to revert it once you're all done. But we have not done it, so you don't have to worry. Now, what we're going to do is navigate to the left console where it says, left pane where it says AlloyDB Studio, the second one in the list. Click that. Now it is giving a dialog pop-up which is saying log into your database. Click that database drop-down, select Postgres. That's by default the one that gets created. Keep the built-in database authentication option selected. Choose the user, which is Postgres. Enter the password, which you must remember by now. I use AlloyDB. I hope you can use that as well. Click the button Authenticate. It should take you into AlloyDB, that Explorer that we just, AlloyDB cluster and instance in a studio view, just that we just created. Now, the test already succeeded. Why? Because I'm already seeing the list of tables, the quick test table. Even though I didn't manually create it, the application did it for us. The quick test table, as you can see in my screen, with 3 columns, ID, info, and created. And let's see now if it has data in it, which should be there because it got inserted. So select star from quick underscore test and hit run. And as you can see right here, oh, I missed. How can someone make a mistake and select star from? Click run, and there we go. I have that single row that got inserted. And that's it. We are done. This is the result screenshot that you need to submit for this particular session. You would have got in your email the link to submit result, the app, which is goo.gle/cvlabs. You have to provide your username and password and sign in. The credentials were sent to you in email. For folks who did not receive credentials, you will receive it along with a reminder email tomorrow morning. So feel free to submit it. But if you want to delete your instance today because you're all done, please take a screenshot so that you can submit it fine. Yeah, I'll show you what the results screenshot looks like really quickly so you know what I'm talking about. So this is the result screenshot that it will look for. So you have to run this and it'll look for your info and whatever result. Yeah, so feel free to submit this. You can also find this in the lab. See, it's right here. You can just save this and submit. For if you've come this far, you can submit it anyway. Don't worry about it. But try it hands-on. Submit your own version of the result. That's the challenge, right? This is the first session of the season, so I kept it easy. But not all results are this way. That is available for you. So make sure you select. You try to implement everything and then submit the result. All right. Now, how do you submit your result? Yeah, I was talking about the credentials, right? I hope all of you received your credentials. Some of you did not because last minute signups will not have received your credentials. You'll receive it. Even if your friends join and they're not able to receive their credentials, just remind them they will receive it eventually. They have time till 27th to submit. So you will receive it eventually, but make sure you take a screenshot of the result today. Like if you completed until this part, just make a screenshot. Like right now, I'll take a screenshot of this particular thing and I'll save it. if I have to submit it, whether today or tomorrow. If I'm waiting for my credentials, I'll still save my save my screenshot. I'll tell you why. We are going to delete the clustered instance we have created, the cleanup step. Why? Because why do you? I mean, if you want to keep it because you want to build on top of it, please keep it. You only have $5 in this trial credit account anyway. It will expire in 2 days because AlloyDB clustered instance will consume some cost associated with it if you leave it on. So feel free to pause it until you want to use it again. That's another option. So how do you do that? Go to my AlloyDB clusters, like all the clusters you have, and you can always right click on the instance and do stop. That you can do if you want to stop the cost from going on and on. Or if you're done, if you're taking the screenshot, just delete it. And if you don't need this cluster instance, delete it. Anyway, we'll do all these steps all over again tomorrow for the next lab. Why we'll do that? Because that's a completely different application. We will use AlloyDB. Similar steps will be taken, but that's a fancy application we are going to build with AI and Google Cloud storage and a lot more things. I hope that's the session tomorrow. Yeah. So that's why we will create a whole new cluster. So if you wish to delete this, not a problem. I encourage you to delete it, in fact. But if you want to try something else on your own, please do that. But make sure if you want to submit results and participate in the lab champion thing and the whole gamified story, and if you want to be a part of that, then definitely make sure you take a screenshot of the result that I showed to you, which is the last screenshot in step 6. That's pretty much it. And congratulations for everyone who've come this far. This is not a normal Hello World application, even though it may seem simple because we have simplified it for you. You've learned a lot of things. You've learned how to put together a lot of different layers to get your application to work seamlessly and on cloud, which means it's deployed on Cloud Run serverlessly. So you can give this endpoint that you copied from once the Cloud Run was deployed, sorry, once the application was deployed on Cloud Run, you got the service endpoint URL, right? You can send it to any of your friends and you can ask them to test it, right? So that's exactly the success story here. You have built the whole narrative. You've started by taking your data, you've set up the database configuration, you've built a skeleton application, and you've deployed it on Cloud Run. Now, you can tell me, no, it's not complicated, it's so simple. Yes, it is. But maybe you can use that skeleton application to build whatever you want on top of that. You can integrate Gemini, you can integrate other services, you can add more layers of modularity that your application demands, right? So that's exactly what you will be doing tomorrow, but in a different application use case altogether. See, I totally really don't understand why people send this crab emoji. I don't know what it means unless you're talking about crabs or you're feeling hungry and you're craving crabs or something. I don't understand why you would send crab emoji. I don't know what it means. A lot of people have complained that it's very distracting and it's unprofessional. So I'm just repeating what people have said. I have no grudge against anyone sending that. I just don't understand it. So I'll stop here. Certificate will be provided for certain number of minimum submissions. At least 3 labs need to be submitted for minimum certification this time. Certificate, not certification, sorry. And for folks who want to level up, you need to have submitted all labs. You will become lab champions. And then what will come next, you will get in your email all those details. But it's great. I'm really thrilled for all the folks who showed up and relentlessly stayed till the end of the session and completed. And those who have not completed also stayed back, which is even more challenging because you know that you're not getting anywhere with this application, but you still stayed back to learn. So kudos for that. Go back and try it at your own time. You would be able to do this easily. Thank you. We'll take more questions on Discord as and when it comes up for you, but feel free to submit it. Yeah. Docker file code. I see there's a message asking me to show the Docker code again. It's right here. I should be able to open that. Open editor. It's right here. There you go. This is the Docker file. It's literally 6 lines of code, setting up your Python image, setting up the working directory, copying the requirements.txt, installing it, and then giving your endpoint. That's pretty much it. Whole recording you'll get in the morning. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. I really had fun building this with you. I hope you'll come back for tomorrow's session. See, we have 5 labs this season, but only 4 sessions. How cool is that? In the first day, we've completed 2 already, which is a big deal. So in the past, we have never done that. It's because of the quality of how far you have come that shows off that we have completed it in much lesser time. The two labs, which is really a big accomplishment. Thanks to you all, and thanks to the Code Vipassana leads who are there in the call, have worked relentlessly throughout the session, answering your questions, and some of the leads who are also there to test out some of the projects for us. So kudos to them, and kudos to you all. Tomorrow we'll build a dating application, but for your stuff, not for you. So it's a fun application. Let's do it tomorrow. See you all tomorrow. Bye. Have a good night. Or if you're joining from elsewhere, have a good day. Bye.